Hello TV professionals, now you have completed the search process on the database. Now just congratulate yourself if you have successfully watched all the videos and completed the search process on this database. Obviously once when you have clients and once when you have work, you will use your own database. But let me just tell you, just to support you guys, as I have access to one of the database at a very reasonable cost. If you are pitching some client and if you want to undertake that analysis on that particular database, that is which I have, that is Capitaline, you can just connect with me on the Telegram, or probably you can write a mail to me on my mail ID, and obviously I'll be able to help you out in undertaking that entire search analysis and giving you the output of that particular sets, as it will also involve my time. So at reasonable cost I will be able to give you that particular data set. Don't worry, my intention is just to support you. But if I just start giving this support free, then it might not have that much value. So just pitch for the client, get the work, and whenever you require that database, that is Capitaline, which is there with me, just let me know and I'll be there for you. I will give you the entire extract of that data for your analysis, that you only have to analysis the. I will just perform that particular search process which I performed once I discuss the case with you, and I will give that entire extracts at a very nominal rates. I mean, don't worry on the other part. At a very nominal rates, I'll be giving you that particular entire analysis. But once when you are capable of having that database, please go ahead and buy that database. Okay. I would always love that part, that you use your own database, because I know that in 2019 when I started with my transfer pricing practice, I didn't have that much amount of financial, so I had different budgets at that point of time. And at that point of time, I thought that transfer pricing is something which I cannot, only through transfer pricing I cannot live or I cannot do the practice. But it was a myth, and which in 2022 I changed. As soon as I got the first engagement, I bought my database, that is a licensed database I bought as soon as I got the first engagement, and I was confident that that amount I will be able to recover quickly, and within 1 month of time only I recovered that amount. Obviously the value of engagement also was, in the first engagement was also it was higher than the price of database. So technically I was able to generate profits also. So don't worry, just buy your database if you are confident, and you should be confident only to get the work from the market. Why the other people should get the work? You should get work in your market wherever you are practicing, right? So have that attitude, have that warrior attitude in yourself, right? You're not here to disturb someone else's practice, but you need to enter into this market as you have opted for this course. Now you know the transfer pricing process, which the other people might not know, the fundamentals, the secrets, and etc. Whatever what we discuss right now, right? So more power to you, more energy to you. Now we are starting with qualitative analysis. Now see, once when you have data from this database, it does not ensure that you will get comparable companies. So the resultant companies are all comparable companies, or probably out of that also, you need to check that comparability functions, comparability criteria on the qualitative aspects, such as functions are matching or not, or probably RPT, or probably on turnover basis. So you are required to check all such details as well. So I'll just share my screen and I'll discuss all the reasons which are possible, and I'll also show you the process of how to undertake that entire qualitative analysis by using the sources that which we discussed in the earlier video. I'll just share my screen. So guys, now as you can understand that you had that particular 100 or 200 set of companies once when you perform that quantitative analysis in the earlier part. Now when we do the comparable analysis, so now for that particular 137 or 200 companies, whatever they were, that further that companies are required to be analyzed, right? Now there's a process for that. Now let me just first explain that what could be as there were reasons for rejection of that quantitative data, like on the quantitative part, that RPT was high. There were companies which had turnover lower than 1 crore. There were companies where there was no financial data itself was available. So such were the reasons under the quantitative criteria. Like as we have already discussed such filters in the earlier videos, right? Now, in this qualitative aspects, what are most common reasons through which we can reject the comparables? So first could be that the comparable does not matches our functions. So now it could be the comparable. So in a practical scenario, let me just give an example. If you have if you are an IT company, right, and you are just a growing IT company, you just have so the tested party is a IT company and has a turnover of only 2 crores. It doesn't have its own brand. It is dependent for sales on its associate enterprise also and the third parties also, but it doesn't have that much more market capture or doesn't have its own that much branding part. Now I cannot compare that company with the Infosys Limited, which is which has a very high brand value, or probably Tech Mahindra or such listed entities, because they are functionally not comparable. They have bigger teams, bigger employee size, they have bigger talent, bigger range of services. So just to tell that these are into IT services and this your entity tested party is also into the IT services does not itself sets the criteria for comparability. There are more things to that, right? They have their own brand, while your tested party may not be having its own brand, or probably even if it has its own brand, but still the value of that brand of this other companies are much more higher, correct? So these are functionally not comparable companies. So for it may also happen that in case if your tested party is a distributor entity, then you cannot compare. So distributor entity of product A, now there's another company which also sells, manufactures and sells that product B. Now you cannot compare that other company with your tested party, because your tested party's main function is distribution function, while the other company's main function is manufacturing, distribution and sales, right? So you cannot compare that part. So that's where you need to reject those kind of companies which are functionally not comparable, right? The functions are way far, or the risk and functions both doesn't match. Such type of companies you should try to exclude from your data set. Now the other reason is that there are not comparable products and services. So when we do the search analysis, we have a broad view to include also the products which are related or to near to our products or services what we are selling, right, or what the tested party is selling. But when it comes to comparability analysis, you should try to find a similar category of product, right? As I said in the example of melamine crockery, that if your tested party is engaged in selling of melamine crockery, then you can select the comparables which are engaged in selling of tableware or glass crockery or ceramic crockery, and apart from melamine crockery. So you can select those type of comparable products and service. But now if your comparable company is engaged in selling of furniture, or it's engaged, so apart from crockery, that is also engaged into selling of furniture, or probably spoons and other type of steel, stainless steels, utensils and etc. I would suggest to avoid such type of comparables, but because they cannot be even directly, or indirectly they can be said to be working in the same industry. They have different mechanisms, they have different economics, and that is where you should avoid such comparables in your final comparable data set when determining your final comparable data set as well. So that is non-comparable product and services. Then there is no sufficient description is available to judge the actual business activity. So this may happen, when you go ahead, you see the website and etc., and still you are not able to understand that what company that company is actually into. So sometimes in the audit report or annual report also this type of data is not presented, that what company that actually is doing. That may happen sometimes. It has happened with me also. So then there is no sufficient data available on the public domain to judge that what company exactly does, right, what that company operates into. There could be such type of financials you may get from the public domain. So in that case you have to reject that comparable unless until you are not confident if that company is engaged in those same operations as of tested party. Then there's this fourth reason which says that there is no sufficient financial data or segmental data available. Now sometimes company maybe might be engaged in your comparable activity, but apart from that also it would be undertaking some other activities, and for which there are no particular segmental data is available. You need to understand that what the company maximum is doing through its financials. You need to search down from that financials what portion of revenue is earning from the activity which your tested party also is doing the same kind of activity. If you are not able to find that particular data, in this is applicable only in case when company is doing multiple businesses, then also you should reject that company as a comparable from the list of comparable entities. Then you should always go ahead and again look for qualitative aspects, such as if the company is consecutively loss making entity, like once when you accept that company and that company operating margin is not earning operating margin also, there are losses happening in that company, even though if you do this operating margin computation and there are consecutive losses means the company has losses more than 2 or 3 years. These are called consecutive loss companies. We should avoid such type of comparables. We should avoid such type of companies, even though it's a comparable, functionally comparable, etc. But as the company is making consecutive losses, you should exclude that from your comparable data set. Now the low turnover. So now once when in this database there could be also some companies which may have turnover below 1 crore. If you have selected that data also, then also it's a possibility that such type of companies may get enter into your qualitative data set which you are required to analyze. So see to it that it also meets the all criteria of quantitative aspects which you must have selected while performing that particular analysis, right? And then sick and dormant non-operating companies, obviously they are not comparable companies. They cannot be compared because the economics of that particular companies are different from your tested, will be different from your tested party. And high RPT. So as I've already shared the RPT file, you must have found that file in that particular video, right, where I was discussing this RPT filter. So you should exclude that type of companies also, right? And that particular RPT file, if you see that I have just captured the transactions which are there in profit and loss account. So you don't have to capture the balances, balances or receivables and payables. That's what I mean to say, or dividend payments, etc. You don't need to consider that type of transactions when you are computing this RPT to sales ratio. You just need to take into account the items which affect the profit and loss account, and that is how you will arrive at this particular comparable data set. Now let me also show you that how you need to undertake the comparability analysis. I'll just shifting my screen. So I have just made an example here. I'll be sharing these files obviously below this video. So now what happens here is, now I have comparable data. So I have got, so this is the file which I have prepared post I got the quantitative companies, like quantitative the companies which fulfills the quantitative criteria which are there, which I need to analyze further for qualitative aspects, right? So from that particular file, I made this file which I call as qualitative analysis. This is not required to be submitted in the TP report. That in the TP report a refined version will go. I'll show you that version also, what goes into the TP report, but a refined version will go. But yes, for preliminary analysis of qualitative part, you need to understand that you need to perform this type of analysis. Now, if I see, now let me just also open that quantitative file so that it gets linked here. So now this was my presentation of quantitative annexure, right, which I took out from Captain. Now if you see here, let that file just open. Yes. So these are companies rejected. So if I see the accepted part, let me just open here the accepted part. Like if you see here, the matrix, under this matrix there were this around 98 companies which are accepted, right? This is just for example. Please don't match the numbers with the last thing what we did. Please be please don't match all such things. It is just for your example. I have shown you these files and I am sharing these files with you. All right. So if we see here, the first company is Bharat Bijli Limited. So what I have done is, all the companies which are accepted post quantitative analysis, I have I have copied all such names and I have pasted them here, right? These are just 8 names, but yeah, you need to paste that entire particular part here first and foremost thing. And then after you should start seeing that company's website. So if you see here that the first company which has been accepted here is Bharat Bijlee Limited, right? Now my client or my tested party was engaged in manufacturing or is engaged in manufacturing of injection molding machine. My objective is to find comparables who are engaged in manufacturing of injection molding machine. Correct? How will I do that? So I know that in market injection molding manufacturing machines, manufacturers are very less in market. So I will try to understand that if this company is engaged in manufacturing, because see, it's an industrial machinery which the tested party is manufacturing. So I may go ahead and accept also the companies which are engaged in manufacturing of industrial machinery, right? Because my client is also pertains to same industry, that is industrial machinery manufacturing. The machines which are being manufactured by the tested party are injection molding machines which are again used by the factories to produce the finished product, right? So that is how I can select those comparables if I find less comparables in injection molding machine manufacturer criteria, right? Now if I see this company, now this Bharat Bijlee Limited, I will go to first its website, and whenever I will go to its website, I'll also mention here I'll also state the path of the website here. Why? Because I need to understand that from where I got this data. Correct. So there are 2-3 sources from where you can get data, but you should always go in a process that first you need to check the website. Then once website, you can go to ahead with annual report, and then after, if annual report is not available, the best thing to understand the company's operation is annual report or financial statements. And if they are not available on public domain, download that from MCA. And if they are not available, the company has not filed itself, then you don't have the data to analyze that. But in the preliminary part, when you do the quality analysis, you are not required to download each and every company's report from MCA, because you cannot download hundreds of companies from MCA for analysis. You can go to website first. You can judge from that particular website only that whether that would be comparable or not. So I have gone to this website. I have got this description basically, and I have also seen the report, and I have also gone to this description which says that company deals with manufacturing of power transformers, generator transformers, unit auxiliary transformers, and special application transformers. Now, as my tested party is engaged into injection manufacturing, injection molding machinery, probably I am just keeping this comparable aside, right? I am not rejecting it outward, because this company is also engaged into manufacturing of transformers, generator. These are electrical equipments technically, correct? And my tested party is engaged into the industrial machinery. These are both different things. But as before behind my mind, there is some thought that okay, I may not get that much amount of comparable companies. So that is where I'll keep this as a potential comparable as of now in the preliminary analysis. And then after, when I do this entire thorough analysis of 200 companies, I may come to know that what are potential comparables, what are the accepted companies, and appropriately I can decide that whether should I include this or not. Correct? That is on my judgment. That is the TP consultant judgment. And then appropriately you have to justify that why you have included. Now it may also happen that if you are including this particular company because it is engaged into manufacturing of power transformers, then you should also include the same category of companies which are engaged into manufacturing of power transformers or electrical equipments. You cannot be biasing, right? We saw in that particular selection of comparables that you should not bias yourself for selecting one comparable and rejecting the other comparable based on some vague reason. No, you cannot do that. So if you are selecting this company as a comparable, then this company, so all the other companies which have similar activity are to be selected unless until they are rejected on a justified basis, like they might be having high RBT or their turnover would be lower than 1 crore. At that point of time, you can reject those companies. But if you are considering this as functionally comparable, ensure that other companies which are undertaking same activities are also accepted, right? So this I have kept as potential comparable. Then I have this Caprihans India Limited. I went to the website. Now this company doesn't have its own website. So I got this data from indiamart.com. So now this is not a reliable data. Let me tell you, indiamart.com is an e-commerce site where people will do marketing more. right? And where they might not show their real operations. But I searched on the internet and I didn't found any of the data, reliable data, reliable source on which from which I can understand that this what this company is doing. So I have at first instance I have gone to the indiamart.com. So when I put this down in Google, I got this particular link, and I got to understand that this company is engaged in manufacturing of PVC films and flexible and rigid and sheets, board, etc. Right? So this is not my relevant to the industrial machinery or injection molding machinery. So I'll straight away reject this. I won't download the financials also for this company. Let me tell you that. Okay, now if this is a listed entity, its annual report would be available on its website as well. So you should also understand that if it's a listed entity, you can go ahead, you can check the annual report which is available on the website as well. If there is a website or on the BSE's registered BSE's and official BSE and NSE portal also, if this company's stock is getting traded on this stock exchanges, you may find annual reports on the BSE NSE website also. So from all these sources, you can find these reports also. You can understand that what company is actually doing. You need to ascertain before rejecting. Please ensure that you are thorough with all such things, so that tomorrow if any question comes, you are ready with your appropriate justification. Now I'll just go ahead. Now this is to be seen. Now if you see here, this entity Nesco Limited, now that has been selected, right? Now I'm just marking here so that it draws your attention as well. Now if you see here in this company, particularly Nesco, now I have seen this Nesco's financials, I have gone to this annual report, and I understand that Nesco has a segmental data wherein I can compare the industrial capital goods division manufacturing of machines and capital equipment with my comparable entity, that is manufacturing of injection molding machinery, right? So that is also industrial machinery. This is also industrial machinery which they are into right now, right? So that is where I will compare that. I will take that segmental comparable over there. I'll accept this company as a comparable, and so I'll accept this company's segment, which is industrial capital goods, as segmental comparable, and appropriately I'll take the figures for further analysis, right? So this is how I will do the qualitative analysis. Now after that, I also got one more company which is Windsor Machines Limited, right? Now I went to this company's website. It's a listed entity. Now I also saw the annual report. Now if also moving ahead, I saw that this company deals in manufacturing of injection molding machines, pipe extrusion and blown flip. Now I got to know that this is a comparable entity. Sure short comparable entity. This is into manufacturing. This is into manufacturing of injection molding machine. So if you see here that this can be considered as a comparable entity. This is how qualitative analysis is to be undertaken. So once this is comparable entity, just write here except. I have written here segmental comparable and comparable, but you need to write here except, and then you don't have to give any reason for rejection. But as this is a rough working file, because preliminary analysis is a rough working file only that you are required to maintain. So I have written here segmental comparable, so that if my senior reviews this, he can understand that okay, I have selected these companies as comparable, and why I have rejected or what are potential comparable, he can decide, or you can also decide. Once you are thorough with entire process, you can also decide that why you should reject or accept these companies, and why they are comparable to tested party and why they are not comparable to the tested party. So this is how you need to undertake the qualitative analysis process. Now how the output is being shown, right? Now this qualitative aspects has been, you have done this particular exercise. Now how you need to present in TP report, I'll show you that. So when you present this in TP report, you will be presenting in such manner. See here, Bharat Vijay Limited, it has been rejected because the products are not comparable. Similarly, Caprion, CG Power, this have all particular reasons, right? Now whatever are accepted, I have marked here as accepted comparables. Like Nesco is there, Windsor is there, then Polychem Plast Machines is also there. It is also engaged into manufacturing of injection molding machines. Then Shibora. So these are entities which are engaged into similar activities, and those who don't sell or those who manufacture comparable products, they have their own reasons for rejection. Those are not functionally comparable itself. Like some companies would be engaged in rendering services and maintenance services and manufacturing also. So such type of companies are not functionally comparable. So that is why they have been rejected in this particular set. So this is how you will present in your TP report, right? And this is the table which we will discuss when we draft the TP report. And this is how you need to do the qualitative analysis. Your qualitative analysis is over. Now you have to now you have understood how to analyze that data on the qualitative aspects. Correct? I hope I am clear till this point of time. I'll meet you in the next video where I am going to discuss, now I think everything is over. Now I am going to discuss computation of operating margin. So basically see, computation of operating margin has already been, I have explained that in detail under day 5. It has a special session. So you can go ahead and you can look after that session to understand that how the margins are being computed, because this will be one of the part where we are going to discuss which is required to be put in the TP report. So that is where I have just kept here, but we have already discussed that computation of operating margins in the last video. Correct? Now I'll meet you in the next video where I'm going to discuss the economic and risk adjustments. Interesting session. Be with me on this session as well. I hope I have clarified all other aspects of undertaking this search process and arriving at a comparable data set. We are going to also see the presentation of entire economic analysis in the TP report in the coming video once when we complete the economic and risk adjustment session. I'll catch you in the next video. Hope you are enjoying this learning journey. Thank you.